Hello, so quickly going to talk you through creating a repeat pattern, but to start off we just need to make sure everything is in the right place, all your tools and stuff. So if you go to Window, Workspace and change that to Automation if it's not on that already, and also go to Window Toolbars and change it to Advanced, and you'll get a few more options on the screen. So to start off, if you've got an image from Photoshop or an image that you've drew in or scanned in, I'm just going to use one online to show you really quickly. At the moment that's just an image, a pixelated image, so you're going to want to click Image Trace at the top of your screen when you drag that image in. And what's going to happen is you'll get a nice flat vector. So if you go to this little option here, the image trace panel, you'll get this window that pops up. And what you want to do is change that preset to silhouettes, and what that will do is it will get rid of the background, so it'll just make it those black shapes. And don't worry, you can change the colours later. You can use your threshold to adjust the amount of black on the image. So if you adjust this lower, it'll obviously reduce the amount of black. If you change it higher, sometimes when you actually image trace and change it to silhouettes, it'll make it completely black. So you might have to lower that threshold down. To bring in some detail, if you click Advanced and change your paths really high, you'll get a higher level of detail on the image. Also changing the noise will give you that detail too. So if you just play about with those settings till you're happy with what you've done, once you're happy you can then obviously go to expand at the top of the screen, and then what that will do is it'll create it to the vector and it'll allow you to change the colours, so you can play about with the colours here. If it's changing grayscale like this, if you just go into your colour palette here and change that top 3 lines to RGB, you'll be able to change the colour palette and create it to whatever you want. If they are grouped together and you want individual items, you can right click, ungroup. You might have to do that more than once, okay, so ungroup that again. And then you should be able to individually move these about and change the colours. So moving on to actually creating the pattern. If you've got your 2 objects or multiple objects that you want to create the pattern with, or even a single object, what you want to do is just place them on the page and size them to the size that you actually want the pattern to be, and obviously the colour you want the pattern to be too. So if you can play about with your colours, and then move, obviously if that happens again, change your colour back to RGB. But yeah, make sure that's all perfected before you actually go ahead and make the pattern. These can be edited later on, but it's a bit more faff. So once you're happy with that, and obviously the placement of those items, we can then actually go ahead and start creating our pattern. If you want to change how what way the object is facing, you can right click on them and change the reflection. So if you want it to flip it, you can flip it and reflect the object. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually start creating the pattern. So if you select your object or objects, scale it to the size of the page that you want, you're then going to go to Object, all the way down to Pattern and Make. And then these are the options that will come up on screen. You may just want to click Escape and resize, that's fine, but you can play about with these options. So you've got your grid, you've got your brick by row, your brick by column, you've got different tile types here that you can adjust. If you want to change how close the objects are width and height wise, you can click in these boxes and click the up and down arrow, and that will allow you to change the width and the height of the pattern. There is other settings in here. If you want to experiment with more, feel free to click some of the options. You're then going to click Save a Copy if you're happy with it, and name the pattern. And once you're happy with that, just click OK. And what that will do is it will appear in your swatches panel here over on the right hand side, and if you hover over it, it'll give you the name of your pattern. So once you're happy, just click Done or Escape. Don't worry if your pattern has disappeared, that's what's going to happen. So what you can do is you can move your objects off your page, and if you go to your rectangle tool, you can then create a box, and once you're happy with the size of it, you can click that pattern that we created in your swatches and it will fill that box. If you want a background behind the pattern, what I want you to do is just move that tile off the page, move that rectangle off the page, and then go back to your rectangle tool and create a new shape. Oh, ignore that. Create a new shape. Again, just drawing it over that page. So don't change the colour of anything yet. I got a bit mixed up when I was screen recording. So draw your box and then double click into your colour fill and pick what colour you want the background to be. So once you're happy with that, you can click off it and drag your pattern back over. If it's behind, just right click, arrange and bring to front, or centre back, whatever you want to do. And then obviously play about with background colours if you want to do that. Just make sure that you experiment with different things before you get to that final outcome. And then once you're happy with how the pattern's turned out, you can just go to save or export, and you can export it as a PDF or a JPEG or a PNG. All of those options are okay for print. And you can save it as an Illustrator file, but what I'm going to show you is if you want to change the pattern and you're not happy with it, you can go into your swatches, double click that swatch, and you can go back in and edit. So that's what I've done here. I've just edited the colour, but you want to make sure you click done when you're finished, okay? Hopefully this helps. Let me know if you need any support with anything else.